Now is the time for decisive action, as the first civilization in the world unlocks atomic bombs. Not acting now could put your future at risk, and plenty of civs are well aware of it. Others, not so much. Hello and welcome to the Civilization V Battle Royale X Mark V. I'm your host and yokel, ready to bring you up to speed with our intrepid civs as they fight to conquer the world. Now let's go ahead and jump in to episode 27. Fight now or forever hold your peace. Hello friends and rivals alike, and welcome to episode 27 of season 5 of the Civ Battle Royale. I'm Viver, and because I enjoyed narrating so much the first time, I'm back. Also, because I probably won't be having time for it the rest of the season, so it was really my only remaining shot. I very much hope you enjoy all of my rambling lore and attempted analysis. I do love Sonic Fans map. Feel pity for the shocking size of some empires, and feel awe for the shocking size of others. And remember those borders, because they will definitely not be the same when this episode is over. Nopecopter/Dax Factors has some pretty good observations about the slide numbers surrounding Charagua's tragic demise. I'm mostly just crying at the birds though, man. A shout out to all the Ko-Fi supporters, yes, including all of the ones that haven't bothered to change out of their Pomo flair. You help keep the show running. The New South Wales Lanfang War had a very clear winner and loser, and while Lanfang lost 8 spots in the rankings, I'd like to highlight New South Wales here, because their victory over Lanfang has put them in 2nd in the power rankings. This marks the first time since episode 2 that Tang has fallen out of the top 2, so I think it's an achievement worth noting. Celebration of the achievement is up to the reader, depending on their like or dislike of NSW. Pakistan's relentless assault of Phoenicia continues, and it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon. They've seemingly flipped Yathil off screen, with Phoenicia recapturing the city as we kick off the action. There's still plenty of naval units, so it might flip a few more times, but Phoenicia looks hopefully outclassed here. Pakistan's already brought over a bunch of planes to Haramum too. To compensate for getting bullied by a bigger bully, Phoenicia decides they want to bully someone for themselves, targeting Ma'in. With Karnawu in the red from Seychelles artillery, it truly feels like a toss-up whether Phoenicia or the Seychelles find the elimination. Or perhaps a surprise snipe from Pakistan could be what seals it. In any case, it feels safe to say that Ma'in are not making it out of this episode alive. After being evacuated to Ravenna, Julius considers his options from his makeshift palace. All things considered, things are fine for him. He has a lovely view over the coast, and there's still plenty of cheese to find here. Everything's okay as long as he has his cheese. Just gotta close your eyes to whatever's going on around you. Just him and his cheese. That's the stuff. So sleepy. We get a very close-up view of Tang, where I think we're supposed to ponder the railroads that have been built here. This will be amazing for Tang to help them mobilize their land units faster, but that would require them to have land units to begin with. As it stands, these railroads sure do look pretty, and taking the train is cool. Perhaps I was slightly over-exaggerating in the last slide about Tang's lack of land units, but there really isn't that much to be seen. We see them with a good amount of AA guns, meaning that they have a good defense should any of their neighbors try attacking them with planes. They really could use a bigger army though, if they want to make an impact in the game beyond being insane in the science and production department. Michael Servetus was a polymath from Spain, with notable contributions to medicine in particular. He was burned at the stake and sentenced to death both in Catholic and Protestant circles for rejecting the Trinity. Fortunately for him, he is welcome in Tang lands to contribute to the great scientific machine. Julius's enjoyment of fine cheeses is supported by the soft tunes of Gioacchino Rossini, who was actually born IRL not too far from where he's currently standing on the map. As he sleeps to the soothing music, Julius has a dream. Ravenna, Ravenna, Ravenna. He dreams of a nation, one that idolizes the raven that his remaining city is also named after. This nation, he dreams, would be so strong that it could take control of the entire coast of some faraway continent. Oh, how he would love to be the leader of such a nation. Too bad dreams aren't real. After the loss of her Chavante homeland, Beatriz Miljazes has turned to traveling the cylinder, playing her tunes to whoever she crosses paths with. Somehow, she has found herself on the other side of the world. Without a home, is there really an other side? She finds Bactria, a nation that definitely exists. In local taverns, she is told about the war in the Caspian, where the local young men who enlist are sent to die on rickety boats. That's just the norm here. Nobody has any expectations about the situation at the front changing ever. Hell, if you haven't just lost your son to the war, you might as well forget that it's going on in the first place. Beatriz realizes that things are the same everywhere. Some nice naval carpets are being worked on around here. The New South Welsh waters are looking quite empty, on the other hand, although they do have a lot of planes stationed on those island cities, so a war might not be as successful as one might hope. Also, can I just point out that despite there being plenty of one-tile islands, the city of Singleton has somehow been settled on a multi-tile island. That's upsetting to me. Well, I guess it sounds better than Four-Tile Island for a name. Despite having lost a bunch of cities to Potiguara, Waikuru would still like to own their former lands again. To achieve this, they plant a string of citadels, claiming almost all of the tiles around Sombrero Negro. Besides that, I would like to point out that Yanomami's lands are looking quite empty, save for a lot of former Chavante musicians. They might want to start working on carpeting up again before any of their neighbors get any ideas. A lone Itelman galleon sails among the Tlingit fleet. Its captain looks up to the big sail featuring a raven flapping in the wind. He feels a mix of disgust and worry. Worry about the misunderstanding between his leader and the Tlingit leader coming to light. It seems like the two have found common ground in the raven, being unaware about the other party's true feelings about it. If the boats around him ever found out how he and his crew really feel about the raven, how they feel inside whenever they have to praise such a sickening creature, they would find themselves at the bottom of the sea within minutes. It haunts him every day. It's all the raven's fault. It always was, and it always will be. Bactria and Potiguara declare war on Pegu, which unfortunately forces me to acknowledge the fact that Pegu is still alive. Please, let this be the start of a coalition, and please let Yunnan and Bangladesh join the coalition. New South Wales finds itself in a similar position to Tang when it comes to having a land army. They have clear air superiority, should they come to blows with Bunuba, but they might want to build up some more units if they truly want to dominate and perhaps take the Australian continent for themselves, instead of simply working around the Bunuba issue forever. Well, that didn't take very long. Phoenicia gets the snipe over a bunch of eager Seychellois units, and with no units left near the city, Maine is officially eliminated in 53rd place. Despite being bullied by Phoenicia through the entire early game and losing their core to them multiple times, these guys really did not want to give up. Unfortunately, they ended up as a sad rump in the mountains. It's over now, Wakail Sadiq. Go to the submarine, catch up with your old pal Anatu and his wife. It's time to rest and see how everything plays out from here. As for what else is happening in this slide, we see that Pakistan has flipped Yathil again, although another flip or two is surely in the cards for Phoenicia. An ambitious Pakistani land ship is also already making its way to Karnawu to try flipping that quickly too. Disturbing stories are spreading around Europe about the Cheese Pope's dreams. A nation of ravens, a nation so powerful that it clearly dominates a continent. Don't be silly. This is Europe. Nobody here is actually good. In fact, Hansa is so outraged by it that they think taking the Pope out once and for all is the only sensible choice. Too bad there's a mountain in the way. Dang, what a huge empire Yanomami has nowadays. They're working on getting their Caribbean gains up and running, and they have a naval build-up to the west. Do they have the ambitions to take down another neighbor of theirs? Huh, I had no idea there was a war over here. And now there's no longer a war here. Nothing happened, folks, just a waste of units on both sides. Cerro Blanco finds itself the scene of a grand naval battle that will surely go down in the history of whoever ends up on top here. The city itself is down to yellow, but a lot of Caral units remain nearby, including some of those hilariously oversized cruisers. Teo's really gonna have to put in the work if they want to flip the city. A look at Roran's corps reveals a lot of cavalry. Like, a lot. If you look closely, you might spot some Ulan and riflemen and the like, but mostly horses. You could get a lot of kingdoms out of them if you play your cards right. I also want to point out that the Ket city defenses are now in the 110s. This is, simply put, absurd. Good luck to anyone trying to attack them. I see little chance of success. One of Harakar's advisors walks into his office. "Sir," she says, "our world is modernizing at a rapid pace. More and more civilizations are being forced to make a choice on how to lead their people. Now is the time to take sides, to determine the future of our people." Harakar, back turned to his advisor, turned his head slightly and simply says, "Nothing ever happens." "Sir, I don't follow. You need to decide, sir." "Nothing ever happens." "Sir?" "Nothing ever happens." While scrambling to recover from their city losses to Zazao, and while still getting harassed by both Zazao and Seychelles, Ethiopia finds itself targeted by a third neighbor in Luba. Addis Ababa is now getting assaulted from two sides and really might not be long for this world. The terrain below Roja makes it a fairly defensible outpost, but already the potential loss of one city while you only have 4 is not great. Just at the top of the screen, we can also see that Pakistan has successfully conquered Karnawu. I believe that puts Pakistan at 3 capitals, technically making them tied leaders in the domination game. In a stunning display of being as stupid as possible, and to instantly throw away my analysis from the previous slide, Ethiopia gives away both Roja and Harar to the Seychelles. Neither city was really at risk of falling, as Ethiopia was doing an okay job of holding the line with the Seychelles. But Ethiopia seems determined to dig their own grave as much as they can. I don't have anything else to add, so let's just move on to the next slide. Karakitai adopts autocracy, joining most other civs on the cylinder who have an ideology. It gives us an excuse to consider that core, which is still filled with their UU, the Ordo cavalrymen. They sure look cool, and they have a neat icon, but at this point they are hopefully outdated. With this army, I don't see them doing a lot of conquering. But honestly, based on how little they've done lately, maybe that's just how they like it. France and Wales have united against a great evil. A city-state on the east coast of Africa. A look at both of their borders gives us a look at the source of Wales' negative 136 gold per turn. Boats. And lots of them. Come on, Grace, there's gotta be plenty of relevant targets you can throw these boats towards. I didn't know Wallachia could be such a role model for some civs. As the next World Congress session comes around, we can look at the tragic aftermath of Lanfang's disastrous war against New South Wales. With a bunch of planes stationed in New South Wales' New Gaines, it seems only a matter of time until they finish what they started. Also of note is a very scary-looking destroyer fleet for Tang. They could do a lot of damage with those things should they decide to take them for a test drive in Cebu waters. On the other hand, it's Cebu we're talking about. The protagonist is gonna be fine, right? Tang finishes another wonder because they clearly haven't built enough. This time, it's the Penna National Palace, which provides +2 culture, +1 great engineer point, and, most notably, defensive buildings are 20% more effective. This earns it an 8 out of 10 rating on the Wonder List. I trust the opinions of experts. A great pickup for Tang, and it will make them quite resilient to getting attacked. Turns out France and Wales had something cooking, as Moravi becomes the target of 6 more DOWs. The most notable of these, however, is Herero. There are some troublesome mountains in the way, and given Herero's previous track record, those mountains might prove too much to handle. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe their UU will help their cause. The Ox Rider replaces cavalry and doesn't require horses to produce. Additionally, if one is promoted on Resourceless Desert, it will spawn a cattle resource on that tile. Okay, this UU really won't do much over regular cavalry for war purposes. It's not like Herero was lacking for horses, given the amount of horsemen they had earlier in the game. The Kipchaks, who kind of feel like an equally unimpressive sibling to Karakitai, adopt autocracy, just like their sibling. Their army is also similarly outdated compared to the top powers of the cylinder, but in direct battle, things might become interesting. The fighting between Caral and Teotihuacan on the Pacific Islands has cooled down a bit, but a small Caral fleet is performing a mini line formation to attempt to take Ocaseta. Up north, the assault on Cerro Blanco does not seem to be going well, with Caral defending solidly. The bottom of the Caspian Sea is littered with corpses. Countless young men were sent to their graves, all for nothing. And now, peace. What a useless war this was. Besides this, somehow, a couple of Estonian privateers, as well as a Tang carrier, have ended up in the Caspian. More Estonian boats in the Black Sea, too. They don't know how that happened either. They just kind of appeared there. New South Wales is done with those guys living on the other side of the Indian Ocean and declares war on the Seychelles. Maybe John MacArthur didn't think things through all that well, since the former Mysore colony of Bekala is completely undefended, and not too far from the wrath of the Seychellois Navy. Must have been the rum. Ah, this is the other side of the trade that's about to take place. Mont Fleury also lies completely undefended, at the full mercy of the NSW Navy. I wouldn't be shocked if all this war ends up being is the exchange of these 2 one-tile islands and nothing else. Oh well, cleaner borders for the border gore haters, I guess. Hiram is furious. First, Pakistan takes half his cities, and now this. And for what? Furiously, he pores over the most recent map of the local borders. He hears more of the flying machines overhead, raining down terror, slowly turning the city to ruin. The map is clear. There is no route for Pakistan to reach their capital without violating the neutrality agreements of Circassia or Hyksos. So why? Why would they burn down his beloved capital? To prove a point? The point has already been clearly made. Hiram knows he's lost this war. This is just rubbing it in. As it turns out, shrimp also love autocracy. We can see that Potawara have rebuilt a solid carpet after their recent victory over Guaycuru. They also have a nice amount of boats. It's too bad that while they weren't looking, their neighbor Yanomami has grown into a monster. It's going to be hard to take them down from here, unfortunately. Zazao are no longer allowed their fun of bullying Ethiopia as Luba takes Addis Ababa. There is a very slim chance that Ethiopia will manage to retake the city, which means they are solidly reduced to a city-state. You're welcome to join the club, Zara Yaqub. We were running low on city-states after Ma'in died. Luba also adopts autocracy, which should not be too shocking. Autocracy seems like the least fun of the three ideologies, so it makes sense that Luba would pick it. As expected, the Seychelles have summoned a small naval force to capture Bekala, which goes down without any resistance. I wonder if we're going to see more boats cross the ocean. Thanks to revolutionary technology, or more likely just a visual bug, Tang has managed to station 7 planes in a random field somewhere. I think these might be the first fighters we've seen this game, a direct upgrade from triplanes. Another display of Tang's incredible technological game. Now, if only they would use these planes on someone. As Hiram stands outside the smoldering remains of his palace, he pleads to the skies. Please, make it stop. Internally, he curses Muhammad Ali Jinnah for what he has done to Phoenicia. He vows to get revenge, somehow. Only he hasn't figured out how to do it yet. Anyways, dramatic story aside, yeah, Pakistan isn't going to get everything done here without paratroopers, which I have no idea how far away they are, honestly. They're just bullying Phoenicia now. Scotland also picks up autocracy, and wow, Mary, imagine if you used that navy. It's frankly kind of absurd that you're the highest ranked civ in Europe right now. Kalmar seas are looking so empty. You can go in and get so much done. Somehow, Tail has snuck past a bunch of embarked Karal units, doing a great job guys, to capture Sipar from under Karal's nose. It's not gonna last, but I appreciate the scrappiness from both sides in this war. The people of Liverpool have heard all the tales about how great the Etel men are. It's been televangelized all over. By now, they know the story. A diplomatic dinner between Sheikhs and Harchin. The context is lost, but one of them exclaimed, "Ravens, am I right?" A nod of agreement from the other. No further words were needed between the two men, and an open borders deal was struck. Friends forever. Of course, in Liverpool, it's been known for years what those heathens on the other side in Usal and beyond are like. They know all about the disdain for the good raven. It's kind of hard to miss if you actually look around and speak to the locals. But this kind of information is slow to spread, and we learned that the Tlingit are not plotting against their Arctic neighbors, but against Guaycuru. I'm sure those guys hate ravens. Yeah. The other side of the deal is completed. Montfleury falls into rightful New South Wales hands. A Cebu caravel observes from neutral waters, too afraid to move, lest they incite a diplomatic incident. In a great tactical move, Susquehanna teams up with Chono to declare a coalition war against Teotihuacan. Using their planes, Susquehannock instantly bombs Mamay down to the black, while bringing Hickswitz down to yellow. A path will need to be cleared by the Susquehannock Navy to actually be able to capture the city, and reaching it through water tiles might actually be pretty complicated due to that Tlingit city in the way. In any case, though, it's safe to say that this is very bad news for Teocopers. Assuming this war goes as expected, Teo will be solidified into rump status. Chono, tired of watching Caral struggle to take a few island cities, decides that they'll do it themselves. There's plenty of boats and planes around, so they should be able to make quick work of Teo's Pacific holdings. Already, Okaseta is in the black, although that is probably Caral's doing, seeing as Chono's turn hasn't rolled over yet since the declaration. And as Chono's turn rolls over, they summon all of their nearby boats and instantly take Okaseta. They also reduce Kuja to red with their impossible soaring seals and surround it with a bunch of boats. It's doomed to fall next turn with no hope of being retaken. See, Caral? This is how you take some lightly defended island cities. At the top of the screen, the scrapping for Cerro Blanco continues. The city is now in the red, and while Teo looks like they outnumber Caral's units, a good portion of their fleet are actually embarked land units. Cebu fans might be concerned about the embargo that has been set on them, but worry not. Any good protagonist needs a part of the story where it seems like the whole world is against them. It'll only make Cebu stronger down the road. I'm not concerned for their well-being at all. Ignore the Tang fleet. Lanfang fans, I'm sorry, I got nothing for you. Reduced to 4 cities, and now they're getting embargoed too. I just think it's kind of a mean thing to do. Since we last saw it, another Guaycuru citadel has been constructed. So Guaycuru now owns all the land around Sombrero Negro, save for the city itself. The citadels are kinda shaped like a question mark. Maybe it's Esso's way of politely asking if he can have his city back. Polite questions, unfortunately, don't go very far in this type of game. And just a turn later, Chono has taken Kuja as well. Looks like that's the end of Spear Thrower Owl's dreams of having a nice Pacific vacation getaway. Snap back to reality, buddy. You've got bigger things to worry about, like the Susquehannock. Desperate for some kind of victory, Teo boats keep slamming into Cerro Blanco. Even if they manage to flip it, Caral has enough backup nearby that I doubt it'll remain in Teo's hands for any length of time. The first atomic bomb of the season has been spotted in Xi'an, after Tang completed the Manhattan Project last episode. If Tang's neighbors weren't concerned before, they definitely should be now. I've heard from reliable sources that these things go boom pretty hard. I wouldn't recommend being near one. Concerned by the presence of such a dangerous bomb on the cylinder, the nations of the world decide to come together to become more united. In actuality, I think this is triggered by Tang entering the information era, which, wow. Not a whole lot will change with this, of course, since diplomatic victory doesn't exist. Taizong becomes the hacker man himself and ensures that no Civ will ever hack into their mainframe. The world better be careful. I heard a cyber nuke can completely fry your systems. The Great Firewall is rated at a 1 out of 10 on the Wonder Sheet, by the way. With no more buildings left to target, Pakistan's Air Force is instead directed to just bomb Phoenicia's remaining units. It's still not really worth anything due to their lack of paratroopers, but I suppose it softens Tyre up for an invasion by Circassia or Hyksos. Who am I kidding? As if Hyksos will ever do anything. The Teotihuacan defense is slowly getting whittled down. The first artillery unit has made landfall near Mamey. Granted, artillery really isn't of much use to Susquehannock for taking the city, but there's a rifleman nearby. The Navy, meanwhile, is slowly getting closer to Hickswitz. which is in real danger of falling soon as well. They might bully Lanfang, they might take all of their cities, they might embargo them, but Lanfang will not stop hosting, regardless of whatever New South Wales has to say about it. The Seychellois and New South Welsh navies are having a fight in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Seychelles look a bit outnumbered here, but I'm pretty sure they have plenty of backup floating around at home. John MacArthur will need to send in some backup of his own if he wants to get something done here. And here's Mysore in all of their existence. Pakistan's UA really has been pretty disastrous for them. Just look at Kavaripattinam. 4 tiles surrounding the city have been stolen by Pakistan, not to mention countless population too. Their navy looks fine at the very least, but a land invasion from Pakistan would cause them a lot of trouble. It's been 8 turns since Herero declared war on Maravi, and they've made very little progress. I wouldn't say none, because they've whittled down Maravi's army at the very least, but it's disappointing from them. All according to Herero's expectations, I guess. We learned that Tlingit apparently really enjoys plotting against civs that they have no chance of reaching. It's not like they don't have options. A civ of their size has plenty of neighbors, and a war with pretty much all of them would end up a very one-sided affair. I get it though. It's upsetting that a civ refuses to do anything to such a degree. Not just the Sahara, but pretty much the entirety of Western Africa is almost devoid of units. If Dihyang gathers whatever she has here together, it could make for a pretty good invasion force against any of the Portuguese or Western Zazao cities. Estonia decides that enough is enough and starts another round of Estonia versus Bjarmia. Considering not a lot happened during previous iterations of this war, I'm going to wait and see. Leading the naval assault, which really is only an assault on Venuskogar, is George Dewey. He is renowned for many successful naval battles, including a bunch during the American Civil War. Let's see if he can lead Estonia to similar successes. I can't lie, seeing this slide, along with Portugal declaring war on a civ with a dark background color, made me believe we would see Portugal and France going at it. Alas, this is not the case. Why we're seeing Portugal is a mystery. Maybe just to highlight how lazy they've been as of late. Could make for a fun show. The Seychelles have unlocked their unique unit, the SCG Cruiser. It acts as a destroyer replacement, and giving population to your closest city upon defeating an enemy in unclaimed land. There is also a chance that the defeated unit joins your side, and it can be expended to claim nearby sea tiles. As it happens, their current war with NSW is mostly taking place in unclaimed territory, so if used right, these guys could bolster their population by a pretty good amount. Because clearly Teotihuacan hasn't suffered enough, Tlingit goes ahead and puts down a bunch of citadels to drastically reduce the tiles that their capital can work. This will make a future invasion from Tlingit very easy. Even as someone who doesn't have a particular fondness for Teo, I really am starting to feel sorry for them. Mame falls to Susquehannock. There are a couple of Teotihuacan units nearby that could potentially cause the city to flip a few more times, but considering how much Teo's army has already been reduced by, their best hope is to just make peace ASAP. It's all damage control from here. Somewhere off-screen, Kuressaare must have been taken by Bjarmia, but Estonia strikes back here by retaking the city. It does look like this might be the only real thing of note during this war, considering no other front lines have advanced at all. I love being a doubter. Circassia, sensing an opportunity with a low HP tire, comes in and Oh. No, it seems like Circassia has missed the mark and is instead gunning for Hyksos. Considering the narrow passages that this war will be fought through, it seems as if this will end up being a big meat grinder for the most part. However, the Hyksos city of Arges, kindly gifted to them by Wallachia, appears in real danger of falling to Circassia, with no easy way to reinforce the city from Hyksos' side. Joining the war against the ever-sleepy Hyksos are the Seychelles. You've got to hand it to them for remaining active and not resting on their laurels. However, this was an incredibly dumb play from them. Harar sits completely undefended on Hyksos' borders. It's really just free lunch for Hyksos, and considering the lack of any other borders, that's all this war is going to be. We also get confirmation that Pakistan took Nashak, which marks the definitive end to Phoenicia occupying former Mayan cities. Judging by the yellow health bar, it's been in Pakistani hands for a while now. But I think this is the first confirmation we get of it, except if you're one of those people who stare at the minimap, in which case, congrats, you're more observant than me. Karal captures Inthakataka for what feels like, appropriately, the nth time. Is anyone keeping count at this point? In other bad news for Teotihuacan, the Chono Navy has found their Mesoamerican homeland. The only vaguely positive news for Teo here is that they've retaken Mamey. However, considering the cavalry station next to it, it's doomed to fall again very soon. The first Susquehannock destroyer is now also knocking on the doors of Hykswitz, and I don't think they're going to be patient about opening it up. The Kipchaks are awake! They're doing something! They're declaring war on Vyatka, whose lands are separated from their own by the Urals. Considering the fact that neither side has plains yet, these mountains form a barrier that may just be impossible to penetrate for either side. At least they're trying their best. Our trusty spy reports to us that Aures might actually do something against Hyksos. It's a big if, but it could spell trouble for Hyksos if Dihya takes this hypothetical war seriously. On the side of the screen, we can see that Tyre is still getting bombarded to bits by Pakistan for the love of the game, and Circassia has so far failed to make any progress against the very lightly defended city of Arges. Sorry guys, coming through. Just gotta maneuver my ship like this. Gotta reverse. Oh no. Guys? Any help? I'm stuck in a citadel over here. If nothing else, at least the predicament of the nearby supercarrier provides a nice distraction to the citizens of Tyre amidst the struggle to survive in a ruined city. Meanwhile, an amused Circassian field gun senses an opportunity and rides onto the deck of the supercarrier, much to the annoyance of the tank captain. Get that stupid cannon off my boat! It's not funny, guys! I'm in serious trouble here! My boss is gonna kill me if he finds out! Being a doubter is most fun when you end up being dead wrong. And I have to admit, I completely glossed over the fact that Bjarmia had planes. Mostly because I didn't even think to look for them because it's Bjarmia. They're doing an incredibly effective job though, allowing Bjarmia to take back Kurasare and advance to Narva. 3 other cities have all been taken to low health too. There's still some units in the way, which could be hard to clear out due to the relatively small land army that Bjarmia is fielding. However, this clearly turns the tides drastically against Estonia. Harar falls to the red and is completely surrounded by Hyksos units. Not much longer now, and Hyksos will have actually done a thing, even if it isn't much. Wow. Tang adds yet another wonder to their collection in the CN Tower. It's the first Information Era wonder to be constructed, and provides bonuses that are mostly not very useful for the purposes of a battle royale. Most notable is probably the free social policy, and some extra science from engineers. It's rated 4 out of 10 on the sheet. Sir, what are your orders for today? Sir, Laguna Martin might carry your name, but it's not ours. You can't just go there on vacation. I thought you'd never ask, sir. Right away. I just need a moment. It's beautiful. As a Chono supporter, this is the war I've been waiting for since forever. It's finally here. Chono declares war on Guaycuru. And as we can see on this slide and the previous, Chono has a very large navy ready to cut through the Guaycuru like a hot knife through butter. On top of that, they have plenty of soaring seals ready to bomb anything and everything. Even while trying to be unbiased, this looks incredibly doomed for Guaycuru. Sure, there's some boats here and there, but Chono's navy is not only about triple the size, it's also technologically more advanced. Down goes Harar! Wrap it up, guys, Hyksos has done it. I'm so proud of them. They've won the Royale in my heart now. Unfortunately, this is all we're going to get out of this war. According to the very cool, go check it out, community tile map, these citadels have been here since at least the previous episode. My memory is too spotty to remember if it's older than that. In any case, it's some nice land for Estonia, although it's looking very barren. Hansa is looking so squeezed these days. It truly makes me wonder how they're still around. Surely it wouldn't be that hard for France to just eat them. Clock's ticking, Spear Thrower Owl. Mame is reclaimed by Susquehannock, and with only one unit in reach, it's looking completely lost. Worse still, Hickswitz has fallen, and Wahaktun has been bombed down to yellow health. On the other coast, notice that N+2 Tkataka has flipped back to Teo before being claimed by Chono, while Waka is getting peppered down to yellow health. Tick-tock, Teo. Before long, you might become another low-ranked city-state if you can't defend yourself. And we know the power rankers are remorseless. It would be incredibly upsetting if Onondaga's first city flip of the game is Karankawa's insurance policy. On the other hand, if they succeed in taking the city, it means that Karankawa actually dies when they're supposed to, once one of their neighbors decides their time has come. I truly don't know who to root for in this situation. Either side would be good, but it would also imply a bad thing. Life's not so bad in sunny Cebuano, Hawaii. You can enjoy the great weather, the beautiful beaches, the rich nature. Just ignore the looming and ever-present threat of the #1 contender for this game. Don't think about their mechanical ravens bombing everything to rubble. Don't do it, and you'll fit right in with the locals. It's the way of life, especially in the Baja California city. Also, a small thing I just want to note is that Cebu's Hawaiian Holdings is the last holdout of Pomo's religion, Pole Maru. I think that's cute. To end off this episode, we can see a fleet of tank carriers with some explosive cargo. I'm afraid the carrier we're focusing on might not be the only one holding atomic bombs. Who's going to fall victim to these devastating weapons of mass destruction? Find out next week, assuming that Tang does something besides build wonders, in the Civ Battle Royale! Once again, this was a blast to write, and I had a lot of fun narrating. I hope you enjoyed reading it. I'm Vijver or Viver, and I'll catch you all in the sub. And I've been in Yokel. Apologies to the narrator, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce this name, but to everyone listening, thank you very much, and I will see you next week.